Good morning, and thank you for joining me here for what is now week 2 of the Real Living Market Advantage webinar series. For those of you who joined me last session, number one, a quick apology out to you for the technical difficulties we had, and you know that this is actually week 1 and 2 sort of combined because of those technical difficulties last time. And as it turns out, those were entirely my fault. So double apologies to you on that. Just full disclosure there, as it turns out, it was my error why we had trouble. So I know that a lot of you had attended that session, and again, my sincere apologies for taking that time away from you. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. But moving forward on that, I'm still excited about the series. I hope you are too, based on the number of attendees that I'm seeing and still clocking in here. We're going to have a really successful series. I like doing this 5-part webinar series for Real Living. This is the fourth region, if you will, that I have started this with, and we've had good success with it. The nice thing about spreading it out over the weeks is that the Market Advantage product, and if you had a chance to look at it at all, you've seen for yourself that it's a really big product. There's a lot to it. I think it's thought of as a flyer program or a postcard program, but again, if you've taken any time to see it at all, you know it's a really big product. So we found that it's much more successful to offer it as a weekly class, if you will, over the 5 weeks, than to show you an overview of it for an hour or 2 hours and then expect you to just walk away and have all this, all this knowledge stacked away in your head where you can go use it. So we're going to take it off in bites and in chunks, and this first session today is really kind of nice because it's an overview of the product for you, and again, because it's an overview, nobody expects you to walk away and be an expert at using the program yet. But it gives you an idea of what's there in its entirety. And then over the next few weeks, we'll take a look at things in particular, how to carve out a niche using the e-newsletter, and how to set up some targeted marketing campaigns and those kind of things. So today will be kind of a speed session. I've only got an hour still to do this. And again, we're going to review week 1, which is really just an overview of the product. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how to organize your database and have some intelligent grouping of that database so that you can send out targeted and relevant materials to those folks. There's a lot of people on this webinar, so we are going to just have question and answer at the end. I'll run through my program, and then if you have a question as it comes up, I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and type that question in the question section of your set of tools that came with this meeting. There's a place for you to type in a question there, and at the end, I will read those questions back so that everybody knows what we're talking about, and then hopefully I'll be able to answer those questions for you quickly and easily on this webinar here. Last little bit of housekeeping before we get started is that these sessions are being recorded, and they'll be available for you to view at a later time if you want to review, or if you had an associate that wasn't able to attend, they'll be able to catch up on those, and I'll be forwarding those links back out to the administration for your respective offices, so you'll be able to see those at any time. Or if there's a session that you just can't attend, that'll be there for you to get caught up on. So, okay, that being said, remember, if a question comes up as we go along, go ahead and write that in the question box, and I'll answer those just one after another at the end, and we'll, if we need to go back to that section to review it, we will. And you should be seeing my screen this time, which is a marked improvement over last time. You are looking at, now mine is a generic version of the Market Advantage product, so my logo is not the same as yours. But when you log in through the Business Center, you should be seeing this Market Advantage page. And again, yours will be slightly different because of the branding differences for your market there. I work for a company called Sharper Agent, and we actually built this product in conjunction with Real Living. So it's an exclusive version, if you will, of Sharper Agent for Market Advantage users only. You have a couple of distinct advantages being part of Real Living and using Market Advantage. Number one is that your Market Advantage account will sync with your Business Center contacts. You'll hear me say this more than once. The Business Center contacts will always win. So keep your database updated in the Business Center. Every time you log into Market Advantage, it will send that new copy, if you will, of your database into MarketAdvantage. So that's really, really nice. If you're not using the contact management part of your business center, that's okay. We'll briefly touch on how you can upload your own contacts and keep track of them that way as well. But for the lion's share of your database is, you only have to work, if you will, in one, which is the business center. The business center will always win, and that will just update MarketAdvantage every time you log in. Okay. That being said, if it's your very first time logging in, we are going to ask you to set up your profile. I've clicked on the profile button out here. The very first time you log in, you're actually going to be asked to set it up automatically. Most of the information on this page will already be populated for you just automatically. It gets passed through from the Business Center. You do have the opportunity to change the things that you want to change, however, or if you see an error here. First and foremost, you'll want to make sure that the correct logo is displaying for your particular market. If you're a Her agent, it should have the Real Living Her logo there. If you're in a different area of Ohio, you should have your respective logo there. If it's not correct, call the help center for Real Living right away and let us know, and we'll get that fixed for you because it should recognize you based on your office and should populate with the correct logo. This whole page is your branding as far as it appears on any marketing material that you're creating, whether you're going to email it or print it or self-print it. So you want to make sure this is accurate. The nice thing is you don't have to type all this information in every time you want to build something. Double check it though, because again, you get complacent. It's just automatically being populated for me. And if I have an error in here, it's really easy to overlook it, right? Because I'm just used to it being there already. So if I want to make a change, let's say I want to add a new designation, I just simply click in the field and I can add a new designation there if I want to. Licenses are not required. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and my real estate license I've put in here. It's not required, and I don't believe it's required for you. You know better than I do there in Ohio. Our friends in California and in New Jersey are required to have their license number on anything that they send out. So that field is there. I think it's coming for everybody sooner or later, right? Whether that's 6 months from now or 6 years from now, I think we're all going to have our licenses on everything. So for now, that field is there. If you do not want anything to appear for your license, just leave this field blank, and the entire field, it just won't appear on your marketing materials. You'll want to make sure your company is correct, and again, your particular company should have auto-populated there for you. If it has not, and I'm just going to make mine up here, then you can go ahead and make that change. Put your phone number in there, whatever you want displayed, right? So I'm going to put in my work number here. Cell phone, I don't even want that on there, so I'm just going to blank that out. The address, make sure your email is accurate. Whatever email address is in this field is where anything you email out of the system is going to come from. So in other words, if I send everybody an email right now out of my MarketAdvantage account, it would be an email from jjones@sharperagent.com, right? If I change this to jjones@hotmail.com, that's where it'll come from. The important thing here, make sure it's accurate, because if you all reply to me, it's going to go back to whatever email address I've got in here directly. So if you've got an error there, and again, this is why your profile is so important, you're not going to get your messages back, right? So just double, triple, quadruple check that stuff. Also, the website that you want to send people to, that's probably going to be your personal site or your office site. It can really be any website you want to direct them to, but make sure that's accurate. The call to action field. I like this field a lot. By default, you're all going to have call me today. Come up with something that encourages your client or your potential client to do something, right? It's an opportunity to, you've gotten them to look at a material for you. I'm a big believer in asking for business. So you've gotten them to look at your postcard, or they've opened an email you sent them. Use the call to action field. Maybe it's something like, I'll prepare your Bonnie Bray. Bonnie Bray's a neighborhood here that I farm. I'll prepare your Bonnie Bray market analysis, right? And you would type that in there, and or maybe something as simple as visit my website. right? Have them do something, and then you can type in the website, and I won't go through all that. Ask them for something. Ask them for business. Call me. View my website. Here's my newsletter, that kind of thing. You've got their attention. Let's see if we can hold on to it for a little bit. Okay, the logo's already there. Again, that's a big part of your branding. You chose to be with Real Living in your respective market. Again, the correct logo will appear. If it's not right, let us know. You will upload your agent photo, and it's just as simple as clicking on Change Image and then Upload Image, and then you'll browse out into your computer, find the photo that you want displayed there, click Upload Image, and it will place it here. And then it becomes a choice for you. You can upload as many as you want in here. For different trainings, I've done some silly things, like I uploaded this picture. I can change between photos that way. So if sometimes I want a more casual photo of myself on there, I can put that on. If sometimes I want my personal my dressed up, my adult photo, I can put that in there as well. That's nice to be able to switch between those at will. The last thing I want to touch on here is the social networking fields. If you are embracing social networking as far as your real estate business is concerned, and I'm not talking about your personal Facebook page, but if you've created a Facebook fan page for your business, you ought to be directing people to that, at every opportunity. Or if you have people following you on Twitter, or you want them to view your LinkedIn profile, or maybe you're posting videos, again, as they relate to your real estate business on YouTube, put those in there. Put in the address that you want them to land on. So in this case, mine might be Jones Real Estate on YouTube. And these are fake addresses I'm putting in here, but I want you to see what those look like when you see them in a piece. So what will happen now, I've chosen a Facebook URL and a YouTube URL, and I need to choose the correct drop-down. So now, again, theoretically, if I emailed you all and just sent you anything, whether it's a postcard or a property flyer or a newsletter, at the bottom of that email, you're going to see a Facebook icon and a YouTube icon. And if you click on the Facebook icon, it's going to take you here, ostensibly to my real estate Facebook page, and here to my real estate videos that I've posted online. If you're not doing any of this right now, no big deal. Leave the fields blank, and nothing will appear, regardless of what you have here in the drop-down. So now, if I was to email you, just that Facebook icon would appear. So if you're doing that kind of stuff now, I think this probably makes some pretty good sense to you. If not, when you get around to it, when you decide that that's something you want to do, those links will be there for you, and they can really help expand your reach on people. So that's really it for the profile. When you make changes, you got to save them. So make sure you click on Save Profile. And those changes now moving forward will all be recorded, and anything that I create and send out from this point on will reflect those changes. And by the way, almost every section that we're going to look at over the next 5 weeks will have a video associated with it. So the video will do a nice job of reviewing, and probably more concisely than I did here, sort of a step-by-step kind of walkthrough on how to create your profile. And there are videos on just about every section within the system. If it's normal business hours, I encourage you to pick up the phone and just call the Real Living Help Desk. Say, hey, look, I'm trying to upload a picture into my profile. How can I do that? And just let them help you with that. But frequently, knowing that we're realtors, it's 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, and I'm trying to get this thing done, and I need help. So the videos are a great resource for that, and I hope you take advantage of that as well. All right, that's my profile. I will do a little review of that every week. It will not be this extensive, but it's really important that your profile is correct, and I hope you take advantage of that right away when you log in and just get it straight, and your life will be easier that way. All of this work is done for you every time you create something. Okay, going back up to the top now, we're going to take the rest of these buttons pretty much in order, and this is really what you're here to find out about, is more of these different types of, oh, this is nice. I love it when this happens. And we will start over. So I log in a different way than you guys do. I don't go in through the Business Center. I don't have that access because I'm not with Real Living. But I will go back up to this top button, and this is called the Today screen. And the Today screen, again, is just another feature that is really just for you. It's kind of like when you log into MSN or Yahoo, and there are news feeds there, right? Those are provided for you. But in this case, you get to choose what news feeds you see. And each one of these boxes we call a widget. You can add different ones by clicking on this, and there's a lot of them you can choose from. I have a few of my favorites already selected. The RIS Media headlines. RIS Media is a really nice real estate-related publication, if you will. They publish 15 articles every day. They're always real estate-related. I like these. Each one of these is a separate little article, and a lot of them are consumer facing, so you'll even find things of value here that you'll want to forward on to your clients, those kind of things. But I clicked on that just to show you that each one is sort of an independent link. And there are a lot of different news feeds that you can use. I have a lot of agents that go in here every morning and look at the headlines and get caught up on what's going on. And I've got other agents that say, you know what, John, that's not for me, and they just never come into the Today screen, and that's fine. Entirely for you. It's a cool tool in my estimation, but if you've got no value in it, that's okay too. Again, just for you. All right, next page is the Contact Manager, and really the backbone of this system is twofold. One is the place to organize your database, and the second half is marketing materials, campaigns, and e-newsletters, sort of the pretty side of things, the nice stuff that you're going to send out. The first side, and again, we're going to look at that, is the Contact Manager, and this is your data. This is your people. This is their contact information. And again, if you are using the Business Center contact management system, every time you log into MarketAdvantage, it's going to go ahead and update this as well. So it's a really seamless way to keep your data organized in the Business Center and then pull it into MarketAdvantage to use it for sending out marketing materials. So it's kind of a no-brainer for you guys. I will show you how to update it in case you're not using the Business Center, or just as a scenario, you may get a list, let's say, of an area that you're going to farm from your title rep, and you want to import them, and you only want them to exist in MarketAdvantage. For whatever reason, you don't want them in your Business Center. I'll show you how to do that, and it's pretty easy. So we click on Import Contacts. You decide what source this list of yours is coming from, right? Maybe you had them in ACT. Maybe you had them in your top producer account. Maybe they're that Excel spreadsheet that you got from your title rep. It's just a matter of clicking on it, following the directions. And by the way, when if I was able to see all your faces right now, there's a certain amount of the audience that's breaking out in a cold sweat looking at things like CSV files and importing and exporting. Don't stress out about that stuff either. I'm going to ask you, if you need to do this, if you need to import a list, give it a shot. You can't break anything. If it doesn't make sense, or if you just do not want to do it because that cold sweat is consuming you, pick up the phone and call the help desk, and they'll walk you through it. Right? And we'll make sure that you get your data where it needs to be. That's the whole point of this. So please don't be afraid of this part. And this can be the thing that sometimes gets agents to say, you know what, I'll start this next week, or I'll do it 2 weeks from now because I don't know how to do this part, or I'm afraid to do this part. So don't worry about that. Most of you probably have done the spreadsheet work in the past, so it's not a big deal. Just in case you have any trepidation about that, please don't. Just give us a call and we'll walk you through it. So you can import your own list. You just follow the directions, and then you decide where you want to bring them into the system, and you browse out for it, and you submit it. So it's a really easy process. And again, for those of you that have not done this before, I know it's easy for me to say, boy, it's really easy. If that's your hang-up, call us and we'll walk you through it. We'll do it for you if you want us to. So don't worry about that. Again, MarketAdvantage users, you really do have an advantage in that your Business Center pretty much already takes care of all of this for you. A second scenario, beside the Business Center upload, maybe you pick up a new lead at an open house. Now, more than likely, you're going to put them in as a new lead in the Business Center anyway, in which case this is a moot point. But for whatever reason, if you want to add a contact into MarketAdvantage, you can do that directly, and you simply click on Add a Contact, and you start putting this person in. So we'll say it's Sally Abrams, and I'm going to put in as much information as I've got. Now, a lot of times I'll sit down with agents and I'll help them, sit at their desk and we'll get their database moved over and we'll just chat and things like that. And they'll be like, you know what, John, I'm not going to put in the addresses. I'm just going to be emailing folks because, that's really what my budget is right now. And I'm just making up this contact, by the way. So I'm only going to put in email addresses, and I'll tell them, put it all in. If you've got this information on people now, if you've got Sally's address, put it in now, because even though you're not sending out anything direct mail, 6 months from now, you might change your mind, or 6 years from now, you'll be kicking yourself if you don't do that. So take the few extra seconds per contact to put that information in. Seems really basic, but there's a lot of us who will not do that, and you'll be sorry later. So put that in. First page is all very basic information, right? No surprises here. The nice thing about MarketAdvantage is if you know this information, and in my scenario, if I just met Sally at an open house, I don't know this stuff. But let's say Sally has been my client for years. I might know her birthday, and I'm going to put that in. So I'm going to say Sally's birthday is on September 25th, and her wedding anniversary is on the 22nd of September. And I'm only putting these in September so that we can see them in the calendar, and I'll show you that in a bit. But if you know that information, go ahead and put that in, and the system can actually send birthday cards or anniversary cards, or, as we'll see in the next page, home purchase anniversary cards for you automatically. So if you know it, put it in there. Useful fields like children. You might know that her daughter Kate was born in 1995. So when Sally calls me up, I can open up her record, go to this page, and I can say, oh, how's Kate now? She's what, 16? That kind of thing. So you've got it at your fingertips. Customizable fields, and just as a scenario, you might want to make this, I don't know, type of home, and then you can put ranch in here. These custom fields can be whatever you want them to be. Again, next page, if you know their home purchase date, put that in there. Spots for secondary contact. Groups and interests. Groups and interests are going to be really important to you for your marketing. So if Sally is a lead of mine and she's in that Bonnie Bray area that I'm marketing, I'm going to go ahead and put her in that group, right? So that later I can select just the folks that are in the Bonnie Bray group and send something to them that applies to them, right? As opposed to blanketing the world with a sort of one-size-fits-all kind of marketing material. Grouping is going to be really important, and I'm going to talk about that a lot throughout the whole series. Let's say Sally is, a completely new group. I can just add a new one to my contact manager, and if I want Sally to be, I'm going to call her, and I don't think I have a rental group here. I'm going to put her in a renter group. I'm going to create a new group called Renters. And all I've done is named a new group now. Now I'm going to add Sally to it. So she lives in Bonnie Bray, or she's looking in Bonnie Bray, but she's also a renter. So I'm going to put her in those two different groups. And ostensibly, I'm going to send different things to her at different times because I've identified her in two different groups. And by the way, we were talking at this open house, and Sally told me she loves to hike. So I'm going to put her in as an interest of hiking. And then, at some point during the year, I might want to send out a hiking trail, just a postcard, and that's what I call that soft touch stuff. That's something I don't want to send to everybody, but it is something that I want to send to people that I think are interested in it. So I can send out this, I call it a fluffy piece about hiking, and I'm only going to send it to people that I think it appeals to. And that's where you get that stickiness with folks, right? So if I was right, and Sally does like to hike, and I send her that postcard later this year, there's a good chance that postcard's going to stick around a little while, right? And it's got my name, and it's got my Real Living logo on it, and all my contact information. That's that repeat exposure to folks that we're after, and you only get that if you're sending them things that are of value. Think about the stuff that you get in your email and at home that is designed to market to you, and think about the stuff that you keep out of the trash. Right? The stuff that you don't dispose of right away. More than likely, it's because it appeals to you on some level. or it has some usefulness to you at some point, so you keep it around. We want to be able to put people into appropriate groups and appropriate interest so that I can always send them things that, and let's be honest, sometimes it's a good guess, right? I'm guessing that this is going to appeal to them, but that's a lot better than the shot in the dark. So take the time to create groups and interests and put people into those groups and interests, and you'll have better success. And when we get to looking at campaigns and things like that, you'll see that there are entire groups of materials that are designed to go out to these different niches or different aspects of your database that you're marketing to. So I will spend quite a little time talking about that and the importance of that. 15 years ago, when I was first licensed as a realtor, and I'm going to move on while I talk about this, there are spots for multiple email addresses, physical addresses, and et cetera. Back to the grouping, though, I'm going to add Sally as that contact. A guy would come into our office, and he'd say, hey, we're sending out recipe cards this month, who's in? And okay, I'll do it. And, here's my list of 300 people, and out went 300 recipe cards to this database of mine. It was really the only choice we had at the time, and so it was okay. But the truth is, maybe 5 of those people were cooks, right? And maybe 2 of those people liked the recipe card. So my effort was a little wasted. Money was wasted, and opportunity wasted with the other 295 folks that got that recipe card and immediately put it into the trash, right? So now, because we have the ability to segment people better and the marketing materials to support what we're sending to them, you shouldn't miss those kind of opportunities a lot. And send people that at least it's your best guess of what's going to appeal to them. So here's Sally. This is our new contact for Sally. I've got all the information I can think of right now for her. She belongs to my Bonnie Bray group. She's also in the renter group. She's interested in hiking, and that's the only thing that I've marked that she's interested in. So now there's a lot of things I can do with this contact record now. And by the way, again, just backtracking, I know that in most cases you're going to enter Sally on the Business Center, and that's okay. She'll pull over next time you log into MarketAdvantage. So that scenario was really just sort of a one-off kind of thing in case you have that need to put Sally in and you don't want her in the Business Center. Regardless of who the contact is, I can now do all of these actions with that contact. I can view her details. I can go back and edit any of those details that you and I just put in. I can send her a marketing email, and that's any of the marketing materials that are in the system. And we'll look at those in depth. But from here, I could email her a postcard or a just listed announcement or a property flyer or a piece about rent versus buy. Okay, so that's what that means. I can send her a text email. I can add a note. And I'll show you how that works. So click on Add a Note, and maybe the subject is, looking in Bonnie Bray. And then down below in the details, I can just type details about what we discussed or whatever is going on with Sally, and I can add that. And now that note is always in Sally's record, and I can go back and edit it, or I can print it, and I can view that by looking at View Notes. Or I can do things like schedule a meeting or a phone call or a task, and I'll go ahead and do that. I'll schedule a phone call with Sally. The call will be on the 29th. We'll do it at 10 a.m., and I'm going to call for showings. Maybe I'm going to take her out and we'll do some showings, and I'll add that. So now underneath phone calls is that particular phone call, and everything that I've ever done with her will list here down below. Emails that I've sent, notes that I've made under these different categories. So it's a nice way to follow along with that. And by the way, I just click on this to see what I had written there. This also now populated in the calendar. And I'm going to go to that calendar, and I'm going to show you some important things. Number one, and I'll say this again too because it bears repeating, this calendar is only viewable in MarketAdvantage. You will not see this calendar sync with Outlook. It will not sync with the calendar in the Business Center. This is your marketing calendar, and it's only in MarketAdvantage. Again, a lot of agents use this as their marketing tool, and they use this calendar. Other agents don't because, hey, John, I've already got 3 calendars. I've got enough balls in the air with that. I'm not going to use this calendar, and that's okay. Extra tool for you if you want it. But you'll see Here's Sally's anniversary that you and I entered. Here's her birthday that you and I entered. Here's the phone call that you and I created. Here's the visit, and I can open these from here too. Here's the visit that you and I created. And this calendar works the other way too. So on the 27th, I can just double click on that and schedule a meeting with Sally if I want to at 7 a.m. Meet Sally for coffee. And I can add that to the calendar too. So it works both directions. If you've got a calendar that you love and it syncs with your BlackBerry and that's where your life is, ignore everything I just told you. You don't have to upset that apple cart, and I don't want you to. I want you to stay organized in whatever way works, which is why I show you this calendar as an option. Just know that it will never talk to any of your other calendars. And that's it for the calendar. I mean, that's really all it is. It's a very basic calendar that's built into MarketAdvantage. We'll go back to the Contact Manager now. Last thing I do want to show you, I've been talking about these groups, and you've got these people that pull over from the Business Center. You can group them from here too. So I can go through and I can say, well, I want Kristen Adams and Jim Barbano and Tom Patton. I want to put them, and I'm coming across the screen now. I'm going to add them to my Bonnie Bray group. Add them. And so those people now, they'll still always be in this one alphabetized list. I can still send to everybody if I want to, or I can go to that Bonnie Bray group and send them a marketing email or a text email or even add a note or schedule a meeting with the whole group if I wanted to. And if I want to know who's in that group, I click on Show Contacts, and it shows everybody that I've put in that group before, which obviously in past trainings I put everybody in there. But that way, when it's time for me to market just to the Bonnie Bray group or to the Renter group, which we know only contains Sally, I can just click on Renter and then send them a marketing email, and away it will go just to them. So it's really easy to do that. I'm going to recommend that you create those groups and market to them that way for all the reasons that I've been talking about, so that you're hitting at least your best shot at a home run every time that you're touching people and not wasting their time or your effort or your money on those kind of things. So really important to do that. I'm going to go back to the Contact Manager homepage for just a second and just remind you that there are videos on all the different aspects of the Contact Manager. And just for grins, I'm going to show you what one of these looks like. They're nice video tutorials, and the reason the second reason I really like these, not just because that they're available, and that gets kind of loud, but and I'm going to go ahead and mute her. There we go. So I can go forward, I can go backwards. What did Elise just say? I can pause it. The nice thing about these tutorials, and again, I'm always going to recommend you just call and get help right away, but maybe you prefer to learn this way, maybe it's after hours, but the tutorials will allow me to sort of learn at my own speed, and there are a lot of different segments just to this one tutorial. The nice thing, and I'm going to go to the entire library of the tutorial, is that the whole system is broken down into little snippets. So if I'm trying to just figure out how to search for contacts in my Contact Manager, I can do that, and it's only going to cost me 4 minutes, right, to read to see that whole video. Or if I'm trying to figure out how to add an individual contact, like you and I just did for Sally, I can watch a 5-minute video on how to do that, or a 2-minute video on forwarding emails. So you get the idea there. A lot of good information available to you. Take advantage of those when you can't find somebody on the other end of the phone to help you. Those are great videos, and Elise did a nice job on those. Okay, so that's the 1,000-foot view of the Contact Manager, and I realize that doesn't let you walk away from this being an expert in using MarketAdvantage. But again, for today's purposes, for the overview, I just want you to see what's possible in there, and then when you go away today and before we meet again next week, that can kind of be part of your homework. Play around with that, get comfortable with it, see what you can do, what you can't do, email your friends some things, just get good reaction to it. You can't break anything. If you find that you're having trouble with something, pick up the phone and call us. So a lot of good resources within the Contact Manager. All right, I'm going to move on to really the second half of today's lesson, and that's looking at the marketing materials and the associated campaigns in the e-newsletter. this marketing material tree, I click on marketing material, and this tree here, all these different categories. Within these, and if I click on a category, you'll see how it sort of branches out. Within this marketing material tree, there are about 3,300 pieces of marketing material available to you. And I think sometimes that can be daunting to folks, but if you look at it as a positive, there is so much cool stuff in here that you'd be hard-pressed not to find the right thing to send to somebody for almost any situation. I mean, even thank you notes and birthday greetings and just staying in touch, sympathy cards, all that stuff is in here, along with the stuff that I think you expect to be here: property flyers, postcards. All of it is emailable or printable. You can print it on your own. You can order it for professional printing, so you're not locked into that. So a lot of good options there for you. I've clicked on flyers, and it shows me all 270 flyers that are available in the system. I can drill down and get very specific about what's available, just property flyers, and we can look through those. And again, my results are 146, and we would just grab what appeals to us, right? I might go on to page 3 and find something that I really like. So maybe, maybe it's cherry blossoms. So it's something that I want to use. I'm going to pull this into the editor now. I've clicked on it. I'm going to create and edit this flyer. Quickly, I'm going to show you how to edit a piece. And the editing that we're going to do is the same whether we're doing this flyer or a newsletter or a postcard. It's really just a matter of clicking on an element that you want to change and then replacing it with what you want to be there. So as you can see, my branding has appeared for me automatically. There's my Real Living logo. Here's my contact information in my photo. This is all that stuff from the profile, right? I can change almost anything else that I want to on this flyer, with the exception of the flyer itself, right? I'm stuck with these cherry blossoms and sort of this gray background because that's the flyer I chose. If I don't like this flyer, I need to choose a different flyer. But anything else, I can make changes to. So this is not my property. I click on the image of this property, and image tools appear above in the editor. So I click on Replace Image, and I'm going to put in my actual property in there, right? These are photos I've already loaded into my account. If you haven't loaded your photos yet, you simply browse out into your computer and upload them. And I'm going to grab this photo of the greenhouse. Click on it, and it just goes ahead and replaces it for me there. And maybe I don't want it to say home for sale. So I'm going to click on the text box for the word home. And just like in Word or anything else, I'm just going to back up over this text, and I'm going to call this one ranch for sale. Now, you'll notice that this bled over down to the next line because of the size of the font that I'm using. So again, just like in Word, I'm just going to highlight this, and I'm going to bring the font size down. Just something like 72. So now it says ranch for sale, and that's a little bit in my way. So I'm going to click on that text box, and I can drag this and just move it until it's the way I want it. Or I could get rid of this script font altogether, and maybe I don't want it to say for sale here. Maybe I want it to say, Bonnie Bray's Finest. And again, I've got the, in fact, let me put a little apostrophe in here. I've got a little space problem. So I can either drag this out and change it however I want to. And that looks pretty good. But I think I'm going to move it up. So I think you get the idea. By clicking, dragging, changing fonts, I can really do anything I want to with this. I can even move this photo up. I could make this photo smaller if I wanted to, and I know you probably wouldn't, but I could bring in a second photo there and layer them together, all that good stuff. So you would go through, make the changes that you want to make. Obviously, you change the price and the description and all that, all of these photos. For time's sake, let's just pretend that that this flyer is the way I want it. I click Save. I have to give it a name, and we'll call this, Bonnie Bray Sample, and save it. And now the system is saving this flyer for me so that it will be available to email, and it will be available for me to self-print or even order for professional print. So it really saves it in 3 different formats. The professional print and the self-print are going to be a much higher quality file than the email file, but it's just ready to go. So now it'll back out, and you'll see now that this flyer has been saved for me, and I can do all of these things with it. within the system. So now that we built this and saved it, it will always exist in my database here in my MarketAdvantage account unless I decide to delete it. But from here, I can go ahead and email this out. So I click on email. There's the thumbnail of what I'm trying to email, and I just choose who I'm going to send it to. And let's send this to Sally Abrams, our new contact, right? I'm going to add her to the email, and I'm going to write the subject line, and maybe I want it to be new listing. Come on, John, you can type. New listing in Bonnie Bray. All right, now remember, theoretically, Sally's my new prospect, and she's looking in Bonnie Bray. I can write a whole text email here. I'm just going to write text email just for speed here. And I'll show you what this looks like when it's emailed out. I'm just going to click on Preview Email. And it's going to put together the email preview for me. And by the way, I could have added as many people as I wanted to here or an entire group of people, but I want you to see what this looks like when it's emailed. And this is literally, when Sally opens her email, it's going to look just like this. Text email. If, for some reason, Sally's security settings, right, don't allow her to get images in her email, because this is literally in the body of the email, and she gets that white box with the little red X in it, she can view it as a web page. And that's, assuming that she knows it's from me and it's a safe thing to send. And it'll display for her in that format. But most of you, if I were to email this to all of you right now, you open your email, this is exactly what you're going to see. It's going to have my message up here, the entire flyer in full color, all of my branding, my contact information, an unsubscribe link for folks to keep yourself spam compliant. Oh, by the way, on that note, anything you email out of the system, we make it very obvious and easy for people to unsubscribe. When they unsubscribe, they automatically get a nice message. I don't think it'll display for me here, but we'll try it. So they automatically get a message that displays, it's not going to do it because I didn't open it out of my email, but it's got my profile picture on it, and it says, hey, and I'm paraphrasing, but it basically says, you've been successfully removed, I apologize for, I hope I didn't step on your toes kind of thing. So right away, the client knows that they've been successfully unsubscribed. The agent immediately will get an email that says, hey, Sally just unsubscribed, so that's taken care of. And the system will go to Sally's record in MarketAdvantage and uncheck a box that basically says allow bulk email. So it will preclude the agent, you, from accidentally emailing Sally again because she's unsubscribed. So it's fully automated, and it keeps everybody spam compliant and happy, and it's just a nice system. The last thing I do want to show you, remember from the profile, I created that Facebook link. Here's where it shows up, and if we clicked on this, it would take you to my Facebook fan page that I created for my link. And remember, if we had kept the YouTube one there, that would have appeared as well. So it's a nice way to stay connected with people. I wanted you to see what that looks like when you email something out. So again, questions on this section, you can watch the video. If you get hung up on anything in here, pick up the phone and call the help desk. But it's really cool to be able to take that same flyer. I can print it myself, put some in the property flyer box in front of the house. If I want some higher quality ones, I can order them for professional print, or I can email it, as we just did in this scenario here. Remember, that applies to about 99% of the marketing pieces in this marketing material tree. Things like photo books and door hangers, obviously, you can't mail. They just or email or those kind of things. But 99% of the stuff is available for all those different distribution methods. So it's nice to be able to do that. Again, you've created it once, and you can save it and then send it out all those different ways. Okay, you and I are not ever going to be able to look through 3,300 pieces of marketing material together, but I do want to, and if I can, I'm going to give you some homework for next week, and it's an easy one. I just want you to go through this when you got a chance. Iron out an hour or something. Easier said than done, I get, but to look through this and just poke around, see what's here. Look at the door hangers. You know what I mean? You may say, I do not send out door hangers, John. I'm never going to send out door hangers. That's okay. I get that too. But just look through them and see what's there and what's available, or look at the photo books or the business cards or the wall calendars. Because again, maybe your lender that you work with comes to you 6 months from now and says, hey, I want to do some different marketing, and let's you and I put together a door hanger. It'll have your information, it'll have my information. My 16-year-old's going to walk the neighborhood and send them out for us. And then you can say, aha, I know where there's door hangers, right? Just because you've seen them. So poke through here. I think it's really easy for us to get lost in the flyers and the postcards in this program. So just poke around and see what's available to you within the system, because there's some really cool stuff in here. And we'll drill down and we'll spend more time on other weeks doing specific things, building newsletters and specific postcards and that kind of stuff. But this week, if you can just take an hour and poke through here and see what's there, create some stuff, have some fun with it, that'll be great, and you'll be miles ahead. All right. Last two sections I want to really touch on is the campaigns and the associated e-newsletter. Campaigns are awesome. The campaigns and the e-newsletter are my two favorite things about MarketAdvantage because they're so automated. I can literally come in here and let's use our example of Sally, my new contact, right? And she's a renter. I want to start marketing to her from where she lives, right? From who she is. So I want to build a campaign targeting Sally's interests. So I'm going to click on Build a Campaign, and you'll see that there's about 70 pre-built campaigns under these categories. In this case, Sally's a prospect, so I'm going to go to Prospecting, and then I'm going to find a campaign that fits her. And there's a couple that come to mind for me right away. She's a single female home buyer, and she's also a renter. So I think I'm going to put her in my rent versus buy campaign. So I'm going to click on that, and then MarketAdvantage is going to put together this campaign. It's a series of marketing materials designed around a central theme. In this case, rent versus buy. And then I just need to decide, well, am I going to email this out to my folks? Am I going to send it direct mail, which obviously costs me money, or am I going to send it half and half? 6 of these will be emails, 6 of them will be direct mail. Well, I'm on a budget, and for these rental folks, all I've got is an email address. These are just people that I'm picking up at open houses. So I'm going to click on email, and here's what will happen. Over the next year, 12 emails will go out, and actually it's over the next 6 months in this case. 12 emails will go out, and I'll get a couple of reminders sprinkled in. The first one says, I'd actually get an email on this day that says, hey, pick up the phone and call Sally. And when this reminder comes out, hey, go knock on Sally's door and remind her that you're her realtor, right? These are just for you guys. Nobody's going to force you to do that, but they're nice. They remind you where you're at in your campaign with folks, and they do sort of nudge you a little bit. Oh, I should call those people back. You, of course, will go through, you'd click on each one of these and review the content that's in there. But once you become familiar with this campaign and you say, you know what, I really like this campaign for renters, every time I've got a renter, I'm going to drop them in this campaign. This is what this would look like emailed out. By the way, if you decided to mail this out, this postcard, this is the front of the postcard, your contact information would be on the back of the postcard in a postcard format. And then, of course, there'd be it would be addressable and all those kind of things. But again, in its simplest format, I would go through this. I like this campaign for my renters. I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next step. I've indicated it's going to be email. The next step is just, who am I sending this to? And here's where your database comes through again. And in this case, I'm going to send it to my renter group. Now, you and I both know that Sally's the only one in that group, but eventually I'm going to have more people in there. And I could have just picked Sally out of the list and added her too. But I'm going to choose the group. I'm going to add that to the campaign really quickly there because there was only one contact. It went by really quick. But what happened was the system scanned to make sure that there were email addresses for the people in that group because this is an email campaign. There was for Sally, and she had a valid contact. Let's say there was 100 people in that group, and 10 of them did not have email addresses. It would say 90 valid contacts, 10 invalid. And then I'd be able to click on that invalid list and add those email addresses if I had them, or I could just skip adding those people. But for time's sake, I'm just going to move on. We're going to add Sally to this campaign and save and activate. Now, if I do nothing else from this point on, Sally is going to get those emails sent out to her, and this was the first one I did for my last training. This is the new one. 12 emails will go out to Sally. The first one will go out on the 27th, which is 7 days from now. And unless Sally unsubscribes, she's going to get those 12 emails from me over time, just kind of dripped out to her. And it's a kind of a set it and forget it kind of thing. But again, those reminders are sprinkled in there so you don't forget about her, right? But if you don't do anything else, Sally's going to get those 12 pieces from you now automatically over time, and it's just done. It's just that easy. And we'll go back and we'll look at some other campaigns just really quickly. There are campaigns for repeat and referral business, right? And this is what I call the fluffy stuff. You only want to send this to the people that it applies to, right? So gardening tips. If they love to garden, put them in there. Or maybe you just put them into a house and it's springtime. Send them the gardening tips, right? It's automated. It's relevant to what they're doing. So there's always something here that is relevant. There's my recipe cards that I refer to. Here's where purchase anniversaries come in, right? So if you're keeping those dates on people, enroll your entire database in a purchase anniversary campaign. When it comes around, and I'll just go ahead and pull this up. When it comes around to the particular date for that person for year one, it'll send them this postcard. And I chose a direct mail campaign. It will literally print this postcard, address it, mail it out to them, and it will charge me 80 cents for that one postcard to be built and sent out. So that's pretty cool stuff, right? And these you'll put a custom greeting in there and those kind of stuff. So it's really nice. The nice thing about these campaigns, again, and let me just set the scenario here. Sally, let's say Sally is my only person that I have that home purchase anniversary day for. When it comes around to the day for her home purchase anniversary, and let's just say it's October 1st. On October 1st, and actually it's a week before this gets rolling, the system will literally pick out this postcard for year one, send it to the printer, put Sally's address and a stamp on it, and we'll mail her the one postcard. And again, I get billed 80 cents for that postcard to go out automatically off of my debit card. And you set up a billing account within the account. If there was two people, it sends two cards, and I get billed $1.60, right? So you only pay as you print in these campaigns. And that holds true for any campaign that you're doing direct mail within the system. So really a cool automated way to do that. I mean, there are folded greeting cards in here, all kinds of good stuff. So sort of homework part 2, if I may. Poke around in the campaigns, look at some of them, see what's available to you. I mean, and just drill through them. Prospecting. Well, who's my prospect? Well, it's prospective homeowners, or it's single female home buyers, or it's retirees. These are cool. I like these a lot. There happen to be a lot of retirees in the market that I mail to. So I like this campaign a lot because it's kind of a respectful campaign for some older folks. Like I like this lacrosse stick one. And again, matter of personal taste. It's a matter of your market, and you know best what to send. But I like this series because I think it's cool. So you guys take a look at those, see what floats your boat, what you think your clients will like, and get some campaigns going out to them, right? If you're on a tight budget, send email campaigns. If you've got a targeted audience in a neighborhood and you've got some budget for some direct mail, set up a direct mail campaign, or you can even, remember, set it up to be half and half, where 3 of them are emails, 3 of them are direct mails, those kind of things. So poke around in the campaigns, see what's available to you there. Remember, there's a video, and you can look at those. I do want to go now to the e-newsletter. The e-newsletter is the only thing that you will hear me say, send it to everybody you know. This e-newsletter should go out to your friends. It should go out to your family. It should go out to your past clients, your prospects, other realtors. It's a cool product. If you do nothing else, except for do this, go add, remove contacts, select all contacts, and you see I've already done this. I'm going to add them to my e-newsletter. Oh, here's a good example of the check that it's doing. So it went through 384 of my contacts. Only one of them is valid. Only one of them has a required email address. The rest of them I've already put in the campaign, and the 8 invalids. Now I'll click on that. I could go through and I could correct these if I wanted to, but I'm just going to go ahead and add my new person, which was Sally, and now everybody in my database that I have an email for is getting the e-newsletter, right? So I'm going to go back to the home page. 376 people are going to get my e-newsletter, and I'm going to unpause it. And on October 4th, here's how this e-newsletter works, okay? It's email only. It's automated. It goes out once a month on the first Tuesday of every month. If I do nothing else to this e-newsletter, it's going to send out, and it's going to have 5 articles in it that are already pre-written, and they come from Riz Media. Remember I talked about Riz Media at the start? So they're always timely, they're always real estate related, and in this case, they're always consumer facing. One of them is always a video too, by the way. And I'm going to look. I don't think the articles are populated yet for this month, and they're not. But what I've got here, these are examples, and again, they're not full articles, but these are articles that I wrote. You can write as many articles as you want. They will always display before the articles from Riz Media, so your stuff's always read first. You can also feature your listings on this page, and you can put as many as you want to there as well. I deleted the photo for this one, so it's not showing properly. But so just to review, all right, if you do nothing else but add people to the e-newsletter, it's going to go out with 5 articles from Riz Media. It's branded for you, and I'll pull that preview up again. It's branded for you and your Real Living office. And if you do nothing else, first Tuesday of the month goes out automatically to those folks. If you want to get fancy with it, you can write as many articles as you want of your own. You can add your listings to it, and maybe that displays a little better in the thumbnail here. But it's a cool product. Just remember, it only sends once a month. If you miss the send, if for whatever reason you forgot about it and you didn't add your contacts for your first month, it's not going to send. You can't resend it, right? It's automatic. That's why you can set a reminder. This will actually email me 5 days before the 4th and say, hey, your newsletter is going out in 5 days. Do you want to add contacts to it? Do you want to add your own content to it? And you can do that. I'm going to pause this newsletter. In my case, I do not want it to send on the 4th of October this upcoming month, because all those people that I added there are real people, with the exception of Sally that you and I put in, and they'll think I'm nuts, especially with those articles that I had written in there to begin with in my test account. So I've paused it. It will not send to them. But it's a really cool thing. If you do nothing with MarketAdvantage, and I think you're going to do a lot more with it than this, but if you load your database, which again we know is a no-brainer, it's an automatic if you're using the database in the Business Center, get your database loaded, start the e-newsletter to everybody, and again, only thing I'm going to recommend you send to everybody, and then get a campaign or 2 going. Then if life happens, right, and you've got a lot of listings all of a sudden and you're busy, all of this stuff is going out automatically to your sphere, and you don't have to lift a finger at that point. And then you can tackle the other stuff when you get to it. If you need a new property flyer, you can go in and do it. So try to get those 3 things done. Get your database going, get the e-newsletter started so that all those people will start getting it from you on October 4th, and see if you can't figure out who to send some campaigns to. And you'll be miles ahead of your competition. You'll be miles ahead of your own marketing efforts. And I know that there are some of you who go above and beyond already on all this kind of stuff. But for those of you who this might be a new thing for, hopefully this will save you some time and let you sort of get started on the e-newsletter. We're going to talk over the next 3 weeks about some very specific things, about getting more listings from your competitors by using different multi-channel marketing efforts and property marketing, and some of the unique items in the MarketAdvantage account. We're going to talk about creating an email campaign of your own, adding lead generation to your website, and those kind of things. But for today, I think we did a nice job of getting a good review of the product, what's available to you in there, and I hope give you some good ideas on how to at least get a jump start on what you're trying to accomplish. So if you can, go back and review at least the marketing materials and the campaigns. If you've got an extra little bit of time, get your database straight and get that e-newsletter going, and you'll be happy. You'll get, I guarantee you, if you've got at least 100 people in your database and you send out that e-newsletter next month, you will get some responses from folks just from that e-newsletter. So you'll have a good time with that. Let me see if there's any questions. I don't think there were a lot coming in, but I do see a couple. So I'm going to see if I can answer those now. I'm going to read the question out loud so that everybody can see that, and hopefully I can answer that question right away. First question is, are there flyers that we can embed, such as on Craigslist? There is, there is an upgrade available for MarketAdvantage. Everybody gets what is called the Essential package, which is what we're looking at here. There is an upgrade available for those who want to, that allows you to create links and upgrade and embed those kind of things in their account. And that is called the Expert and the Executive packages. And they're, I want to say they're $25 and $39 a month respectively, and they allow you to do web posting. So yes, it's a possibility to post those things online, but you need to be in the upgraded product for that. And there's information on that in the Business Center. And specifically, if that doesn't answer your question, give me an email out, and I'll see if I can't get you more details on that. But great question, and it's a great way to be effective with it. Although I understand that that's asking for an above and beyond kind of monthly commitment from you, and if it's something you really want to do, that's available. Second question is, my e-newsletter is not sending to the list of contacts that I have asked it to. This has now happened for 2 months, and actually, Rick, I recognize your name there. I think Christian has a solution for you on that. So if we can kind of talk offline about that, that would be great. But I think he's figured out what's going on with that, with your particular situation. So we'll get that straightened out certainly before this next send. But I appreciate that, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us here today. Does anyone have any other questions at this time that I can answer? I'm not seeing any other ones. I'll give you just a second to see if there's anything else coming through. If not, and if you think of something later on, you go back to your desk and you start thinking about things, shoot me an email about it. Otherwise, we can pick it up next week. Please join me next week. We're going to really be on week 3 at that point of the schedule, and week 3 is going to be getting more listings from your competitors. And we're going to talk about some really cool stuff and sort of start diving into the minutia of some of the products. So I appreciate your time today. Remember, these are being recorded, so you'll be able to review them. And I do see another question, so I'm going to go ahead and read that and answer that as well. The question is there a limit on the number of free pieces we can email each month? And yes, there is. And another good question. In your free product, the product that's provided to you by Real Living, there is a limit, but it's like 500 emails per month. And I'm going to click on the Contact Manager and show you how you can sort of track that. There's a monthly email usage meter, if you will. It shows that I've sent 0 of 500 out of this account. So there's a counter that shows what's going out. In the upgraded products that someone had asked a moment ago about the web posting, in the upgraded product, you can also increase those email limits to either 2,500 a month or 7,500 a month. So if you've got a large database that you want to be sending to, those upgraded products might be an option for you as well. So thank you on that. That's a good question as well. Okay, folks. Well, again, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. The recorded video will be available, if not today, by tomorrow, and it'll be available for you to watch. If you have any questions come up, feel free to email me. Otherwise, I'll see you next week for part 3. Get more listings from your competitors. Thanks very much for your time today, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.